A disputed Iranian 10-point plan lies at the center of a fragile 2-week ceasefire announced Wednesday between Iran, the United States, and Israel. An agreement that offers a pause in fighting but leaves the risk of wider escalation firmly in place. Iran, the United States, and Israel reached a tentative ceasefire on Wednesday, April 8, 2026. Offering a brief pause in a conflict that has shaken the Middle East and disrupted global energy markets. The 2-week ceasefire follows weeks of intense fighting that began on February 28, after US President Donald Trump publicly backed Israeli strikes targeting Iran's military and nuclear infrastructure. However, confusion persists over the exact terms of the agreement, with conflicting claims from all sides. President Trump initially described a proposed Iranian 10-point framework as workable, according to White House officials. Hours later, he dismissed the same proposal as fraudulent without elaborating. US officials say Washington's central demand remains the complete dismantling of Iran's nuclear program, a condition Tehran has consistently rejected. Iranian leaders have made clear they will continue uranium enrichment and retain control over the Strait of Hormuz, one of the world's most critical oil shipping choke points. According to regional and Omani officials familiar with the negotiations, Iran and Oman are expected to jointly administer maritime transit through the strait, collecting transit fees from commercial vessels. Iranian officials say the revenue will be used for post-war reconstruction. Iranian Foreign Minister Abbas Araghchi said international shipping would continue under Iranian military oversight, though he did not clarify whether new restrictions would be lifted or enforced. The ceasefire does not extend to all fronts. Israel has confirmed it will continue military operations against Hezbollah in Lebanon. This contradicts earlier statements by Pakistani officials, who had suggested that Islamabad, acting alongside Oman as a diplomatic intermediary, would host broader regional peace talks as early as Friday. Despite the ceasefire announcement, violence continued. According to Gulf state authorities and regional security sources, Iran launched missile and drone attacks in the hours before the ceasefire formally took effect. Missile alerts were issued across the United Arab Emirates, Saudi Arabia, Bahrain, Kuwait, and Israel. Airstrikes also continued in the final hours leading up to the ceasefire deadline. The United States said it struck Iranian military infrastructure on Kharg Island, a major oil export hub, while Israel reported attacks on petrochemical facilities near Shiraz, as well as bridges used for military logistics. Iran has set out several conditions for a permanent end to hostilities, including the withdrawal of US forces from the region, the lifting of international sanctions, and the release of billions of dollars in frozen assets. The humanitarian toll continues to mount. Iranian health officials previously reported more than 1,900 deaths, though updates have since stalled. In Lebanon, authorities say more than 1,500 people have been killed and nearly 1 million displaced. Casualties have also been reported across Gulf states, the West Bank, Israel, and among US military personnel. In Tehran, pro-government demonstrators gathered following the ceasefire announcement, chanting slogans against the United States and Israel, a sign of deep domestic pressure on Iranian leaders and resistance to compromise. International concern is growing. United Nations Secretary-General Antonio Guterres has called on all parties to respect the ceasefire and pursue a durable political solution. But skepticism remains high, particularly in Israel, where officials privately warn the agreement may fall short of achieving key strategic objectives. While US forces say they have paused offensive operations, defensive actions remain in place. Both Iran and Israel have warned they are prepared to resume full-scale hostilities if the ceasefire collapses. With the Strait of Hormuz still firmly under Iranian control and global energy markets on edge, the next 2 weeks may prove decisive in determining whether this fragile truce opens a path to de-escalation. or merely delays a wider and more dangerous conflict.